Hello and welcome to my presentation where I'll be talking about social media and how it affects the lives of athletes. We live in an era that is hugely dominated by social media, and it is no secret that the way social media is designed is to capture as much attention as possible from someone. And social media is of different forms. There's many social media apps like Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, there's Snapchat, and many even more to come. And these apps or the social media has made it possible for people to be able to communicate or to share ideas or to share opinions with people from all walks of lives, people from different countries, from different continents. People even have a language barrier whereby with only a click of a button, you can be able to translate what someone has said in their language and understand in your own language. So, in this being said, social media has had both positive and negative impacts on the lives of athletes. There's this study by before we get into the impacts, a study by Stephen Campbell in November of last year, November 29th of last year. The study titled Social Media Addiction Statistics 2024, How Many People Are Addicted. And in these studies, Stefan revealed that of the 4.48 billion active social media users, people spend an average of 2 to 3 hours of their time on social media per day. This equates to 5 years of a person's lifespan, and more alarmingly, over 210 million people confess that they are affected by social media addiction. So this is to prove of how powerful social media has on the lives of people in today's world. And now let's get into how it has affected players. So social media can have both positive and negative impacts on the lives of athletes. It can help with their careers, it can help with their image, it can also destroy all these things as quickly as it's been able to build them up. Let's first start with the negative impacts of social media. One of the negative impacts of social media is how easily it is for them to be the subject of abuse. In addition to players having this huge pressure on them to perform in every game possible, trolling has become a huge part of sports nowadays, whereby players who have not performed well in a particular game or have not reached the expectations that is required for them by the fans, in particular in a game where the game of great significance, where maybe the fans or the team was unable to achieve something that the fans wanted for a long time, like a trophy or even an achievement like a top 4 finish, let's say. More often than not, these players are subjected to many abuses. And social media has made it so easy for them to receive this abuse, because these trolls will go to the accounts of the players and send them vile, disgusting messages, either through the comment section, or even directly through the DMs. And even if the player doesn't have a huge social media presence, these trolls will spend a way to get the players, the people close to the players, like let's say friends of the players or family members of the players, and then they will send racist abuses or misogynistic abuses, or even send them death threats, or send them the address of their home or of their homes. This is a major problem for athletes, because it doesn't help them as much as these trolls think they are doing, because what happens that these players' mental health becomes poor and leads to them even playing worse than they had been playing before. And so let's take for example when in 2020 when three black players, that is Bukayo Saka, Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho, unfortunately in a big game where England were wanted to win a major international trophy for the first time in so long, and the game went to penalties and three black players unfortunately missed their penalties, which meant that Italy won the European trophy instead of England. And after the game, these players were subjected to many and a lot of racial abuse, which is sad to see. And this is an example of how easily it is, because the same people who are sending them these vile messages were the same people who are supporting them through the tournament when they were playing well, and now it's so easy for them to switch up and show them exactly how they feel about them. Another negative impact of social media on athletes, it's the constant distraction that it provides. Social media is designed to take as much time as possible from a person, and the constant scrolling, liking and commenting of pictures serves as a distractions, and this is problematic for athletes who want to stay focused and be motivated on maybe their training, their game planning. That is in order for them to perform at their best. And athletes who find themselves being so much on social media more often than not are not able to be focused on their next goal or their next game. On a more positive note, social media can also positively impact the life of an athlete. As much as social media is a toxic place to be in as an athlete or even as a human being, social media can also greatly impact the life of an athlete through a number of ways. And one of the ways is building of brands. A lot of players have used social media as a tool to build up their brands, which has led to them making a lot of much more money than they would have made without social media, and only depending on the money that they receive from their playing time. And let's take for example players like Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the biggest names in the football world. This is a player who has used social media wisely and has been able to get himself branded from so many companies that have led to him building millions and millions of money outside of football, and therefore building generational wealth. Now another player is another big game in the sporting world, LeBron James for basketball. Another player who has wisely used social media to build a huge amount of money through brand deals and through partnerships with many companies, whereby all they just need to do is post a product on just a single post, or maybe depending on the agreement of the two parties, and then with just doing that they are able to accumulate much more money than they would have if they just if social media wasn't available. Another positive effect of social media and athletes is how social media has enabled players to interact with their fans outside of meeting them after the game, or maybe meeting them on the streets. Social media has enabled fans to see players as human, not as robots or as these gods, because players can easily hop on social media, maybe on Instagram, and create an Instagram live where they are able to engage with their fans, laugh with them, share opinions or talk about the game, or even the players can also make their fans participate in a giveaway that will result in one of the fans going away with a prize. And this humanizes the players to fans who before were only saw players as just players, robots. They didn't see them as to a human point of view. And this has also enabled the fans to see the personalities of their favorite players, and also how they interact with other people. Another negative impact of social media is the right of privacy is gone for athletes. Being being public figures, athletes no longer have the right to privacy as normal people do, because everything that they do will be blown out of proportion and be reported widely for everyone to see, and sometimes it is used by the rebel fans of the players to troll or even laugh at or to ridicule the fans of the player involved. Let's take for example the case of Kyle Walker, the Man City captain, who was recently reported that he's expecting a baby with his wife, but at the same time he has a baby with another woman, and this is something that happens in a lot of homes, but because of his status as an athlete and a big one at that, being one of the England internationals and also the captain of Man City, it has been blown out of proportion for everyone to see. And now Kyle Walker will not be able to handle this matter privately with his family as normal people do, but now his business is out there for everyone to judge and everyone to ridicule and for rebel fans to make fun of. And this is something that social media has done to the life of athletes, because before without social media this would not have happened, because as much as maybe he would have been ridiculed, it would not have been brought out of proportion, and it would not have been used against him by the real fans, or it would not have been used against his fans probably on Twitter, because now how Twitter operates is because now the rival fans will start using that as a talking point when they are bantering the fans of Manchester City. Another positive impact of social media is how it humanizes players or athletes. Athletes are often seen as robots or are often idolized by their fans, but with the help of social media, athletes are able to engage more with their fans, which humanizes them and makes their personalities be known outside of the pitch, outside of the court by their fans. But using simple things as a player going on Instagram Live and engaging with his fans, talking about life, talking about the games, talking about things in general, which would not have been possible without social media, as well as engaging in giveaways whereby the fans of these players will compete. We compete to get a reward from a player. And this, which is something that has made fans to see athletes in a different light, apart from seeing them as these gods or these robots, and also helps the fans have this bond, emotional bond to their players that they would unfortunately would not have had without the existence of social media. In conclusion, social media is a double-edged sword for most athletes, because as much as it is a toxic factor in today's world, it's also a very positive platform for players to build their careers, for players to build their brands, for players to engage with their fans, and many more positive aspects that social media can bring to the lives of athletes. So if used wisely, social media can be a very big useful weapon for athletes. And also social media companies should just come up with a way to remove permanently and also to protect the life of public figures for athletes, because it is so easy for them to have poor mental health because of trolls. And social media companies should come up with a way to completely make sure that no one is able to be subjected to the kind of abuse that social media subjects public figures to. Social media has also been positively been used by fans on these platforms to share opinions on players, on games, and therefore creating these communities. Like on Twitter, there's a section of fans calling themselves Arsenal Twitter or Chelsea Twitter or even basketball Twitter, whereby fans of a particular team, of a particular game, come together, discuss games, discuss athletes, and as much as it can turn into a toxic place where many users often go with the mainstream opinion instead of their own opinions, the positives outweigh the negatives in that regard, whereby many users who had a negative, maybe a negative image of a player, of a particular player, can be enlightened by another fan about the player, maybe because they have interacted before, maybe of something that he has done that the first fan was not aware of, which eventually makes the fan be fond of the player.